Hello and welcome to another episode of Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and this week I'm proud to be joined by a man, a trendsetter, if you will, a man who created the dance, the worm. His name is Mike Roth.
It was crazy. It really was a seizure I was having, and people just really got it. They really understood what I was trying to do, and I went with what they thought they understood.
I like it. You're like, that was the worm.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Oh, I do it with music sometimes, too.
I love it. We get all these inside tips, and I love it. Mike, this week we have several movies that are on the marquee. We got a whole host of films to talk about, so let's jump into it with our first one, the big movie of the weekend. The
Gallows? No.
Not so much. And that is Minions. Minions, the prequel to the Despicable Me franchise,
Yes.
Where we take the cute and cuddly little minions, and let's follow them full time. There is no Gru. Let's see what brought the Minions into creation. The Minions, directed by Pierre Coffin, who did the Despicable Me movies, and we follow three Minions in particular. We have Stuart, we have Bob, and we have Kevin.
Yes.
And these are three cute and cuddly little guys who just are looking for a master to follow, a bad guy to follow, and they come across this big bad villain, Scarlet Overkill, voiced by Sandra Bullock. And she is after the Queen's crown. And it's their job to bumble their way through getting the crown for her and such.
Yeah.
That's the movie, right?
That's pretty much the movie, yeah. And I've been telling people about this already, but you could watch these previews, like this one right now,
Yes.
and we've been watching these previews for well over a year. You could take the majority of these previews, put them together, and you will actually have the movie.
Yeah.
They're just elongated clips of what you have already seen. The beginning of the Minions, it kind of plays almost exactly like it.
Yeah.
It's just the scenes are elongated.
Yeah. Yeah, this trailer here really gives you the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah, it gives you kind of the history of it, and I thought the history of the Minions was more interesting than the actual movie myself. Yeah. The guys are cute, Tic Tacs with eyeballs. They're really neat. They're funny, but.
Now, what do you think about it's an interesting tact to take a movie and take secondary characters from a successful franchise and try and spin them off, it's almost like when Pixar made the Mater TV show. Let's take a secondary character, let's spin off. You take secondary characters, but secondary characters that speak gibberish, that speak no English, and let's wrap an entire movie around them.
Well, I think that really works. You're familiar with the video game Sims, right?
I've heard of it, yes.
One of the hugest draws of this video game is the Sim speak that and people find it very interesting, and it is funny. I thought it was funny in the previews too. These little guys, blah, 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 and every once in a while they'll say papaya or something like that, and it just makes me chuckle.
They love bananas.
They love bananas, and it's not geared for the mature audience. It's hitting the cute crowd, the people who love puppy videos.
I'm part of the cute crowd.
Yeah, and I think it hit its market pretty good. It's the one thing I just really dislike is I could not look at this movie with fresh eyes and just be just amazed.
Part of that is the curse of sitting in a movie house multiple times a week, seeing the same trailers over and over and over again.
I think part of that curse is also over a year of different trailers.
Yeah,
because I really do feel if you took all the trailers that I saw from the beginning, which was over a year ago, I was seeing trailers for this when we first did our first show, April of last year.
64 episodes ago, Michael.
Yes. A good count. Yeah. And I really felt like I seen this movie from beginning to end already, and it was disappointing because I wanted to see it with fresh eyes. Yeah,
my issue with this is I thought that the Scarlet Overkill character was very blah for me. Sandra Bullock, just uninspired it felt. And Kevin and Stuart and Bob, they're funny, they're a good time. It just felt so long of it's like spinning off a TV show with Kramer. and being like, he's so funny, isn't he? But you know what? It runs dry pretty quick. The jokes kind of ran dry for me after a while. It's like, yeah, in small doses, it's great. It's funny, but I just didn't feel like, and I'm not going to spoil the end, but there is a great little thing at the end that made me realize why I love the movie so much, and this one didn't have it. It just, I don't know. For me, it was okay, but it got boring pretty quickly. It got monotonous for me pretty quickly.
I think if I didn't see these previews and I was able to watch this a little bit newer, I would enjoy it a lot more than I did. I think it's still a good movie. It's just I wish things were a little different when. Well,
what did you give Minions?
I gave it a 3. It was better than par. I wouldn't, rush out and see it myself. I'd probably rent it if for a normal person.
Spoiler alert: my score was up there. I gave it 2 stars.
Oh, you went the opposite direction.
I thought. So look, the Despicable Me movies are good. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're on par with some of the great things that Pixar does. I think they're fine.
Yeah.
I would put them with like the Shrek movies, where they're good. They're not great.
I'd say Ice Age.
Okay, they're all right on par though for me with that. Like they're good. They're entertaining. They're not spectacular.
Yeah.
And this was a drastic step down for me of like, okay, I get what you're doing, but it's not a movie that I'd ever want to watch again, really.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. The kids love it. It made $115 million opening weekend. It made nearly $100 million more than second place did this weekend.
I'm curious on how much they spent on advertising, though. I mean, really,
wonder how much money they're
over
gonna
a
have.
year.
Yeah, and the little dolls that swear and such. You gotta recall those. Bring those back in. We can't have the kids hearing gibberish.
I also think they would have done a lot better if instead of Sandra Bullock for Overkill, that they used Flo from the insurance company.
Hey.
I'm just saying. It looked like a part made for her.
Spot on. We need more flow, is what Mike's saying.
Flow's
more
great.
flow in movies. Yeah. So there is Minions, the next movie on the marquee, sir. You have.
Well, that would be the biggest one of the week. I saw a little movie called The Gallows. It's a found footage horror movie. Everybody who watches this show knows how much I enjoy found footage.
It's one of our favorite genres.
Yeah, because nothing makes me want to throw up more than a falling camera for 2 hours. This story, though, it's back in '93. This high school had a tragic accident while playing the play The Gallows. A thespian was thrown into an acting role that he just killed at. Oh!
Mike.
He got hung, and it was tragic. And for some reason, 20 years later, this school decides they're going to recreate the greatness of this entire high school. We're going to recreate that. We're going to play this play to the end. Yeah. The problem is the high school jock who's just there to get in with the girls, he realizes he sucks at acting. So his buddy, and a girl I think is his buddy's girlfriend. I'm not really sure.
Cassidy was his buddy's girlfriend, yeah.
They really didn't seem like a good couple.
No, they were awful. No chemistry at all.
But because of his poor acting, they decide they're going to trash the set, and that way no one will know that he really sucks at acting, even though people watch this movie anyways and find out he is not that great of an actor all the way through. Mysterious supernatural things happen. Death happens. There's only 4 characters, so, break it down. It's found footage, which means whatever they can't really shoot accurately with skill and talent, they just decide to drop a camera or shake the camera. That way they don't have to spend any budget.
It felt like it was made by a high schooler. Like it was legit. It felt like this movie was legitimately made by high school students.
And that's actually true. The filmmakers were actually just guys out there. They got some money from family and friends. They put it together. Then Warner Brothers picked it up so they could distribute it. And up till now, they just made $12 million on a found footage movie. And guess what? They'll probably make a sequel.
I wish somebody would have trashed the set of this movie so it never got made.
And definitely, no matter what, we know, since these things are so cheap, and because people throw their money at it hand and fist, they're going to keep on making these found footage horror movies over and over again and totally just not make anything original.
This genre is rife with awful movies and poor excuses for filmmaking.
Are you talking horror or found footage?
I'm going to stick with found footage.
Okay.
And it is rare that you find a good one that explains the use of having the camera, that explains a lot of things, and doesn't take the cheap shortcuts. This movie took every cheap shortcut you could. And the running joke through the movie is that Reese, the jock, is a terrible actor. They were all terrible actors.
They were all terrible
Everyone
actors.
in this movie was a terrible actor legitimately.
But
they
you
were
could
awful.
You could always disguise it because it's found footage.
That's the
whatever
worst,
you do.
but that's the shortcut. Like, oh, it's the same thing we saw with Unfriended.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they're just friends talking over Skype, so the quality can be awful, and they don't have to seem like real people because, whatever. It's just no. That's such a cop out. This is a feature film that people are paying to see, and you are offering home movies to people. And it is such a terrible, terrible genre.
And they make the money. They make the money
because it
every
costs
time.
$20 because you're releasing home movies into theaters.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous, and this movie was just in it the worst use of exposition, as we saw in the trailer. They stumble across this TV that just gives the exposition about everything that you need to know about this movie is through a haunted newscast.
Yeah.
And I was like, really, movie? Oh, please.
And the ending
just stop it.
Not to ruin it, but just to tell everybody, the ending is just as par as the rest of the movie. It's really
I walked out
really
of there
bad.
like, screw you.
Did you?
I'm done with
you
this.
don't even know the big kicker in the end. It was.
I didn't want any more of this movie. And it really wasn't even that long. It was, 81 minutes long? Almost like a real movie.
Yeah.
Almost the length of a real movie. And it still felt too long to me.
It's one of the things I would really like them to stop. What they were doing in this school was illegal. It was very illegal.
Yeah.
There's no way even the dumbest high schooler would say, why don't you take about 2 hours of footage of me doing something illegal so I could get kicked out of school?
How about if you're locked in a school and the doors are locked, the best way is to go deeper. Yeah. Oh, let's go through the boiler room. Oh, let's go through this vent. Let's just stop it. Stop whatever you're doing.
Stop doing this. Don't you need two hands? I mean, you're trying to survive. Why are you doing this with your phone the entire time?
I hate everything about this movie. I gave this movie 1 star, and it is a generous 1 star because I thought a half a star was just mean, but I truly hated this movie.
I gave it a 1.5. Just don't know why. I did watch it all the way through. It did have cheap scares. You go to horror movies so you could get scared, and it did have scares. Just like I think I said this before, when you stare at one of those little computer things and Linda Blair goes, ah! It's those kind of scares. If that's what you want to pay for, if you want cheap scares,
if that's what you want to do,
Yeah,
I mean, I could make 1,000 of these movies for you and just send you a whole disc full of them.
And each one will be 1.5 because it will get you a scare.
Terrible.
Just one.
Terrible. Just stop making these, please. But the next movie we have on the marquee, Mike, is a little bit better, I hope.
Really?
No,
I'm kidding.
The next movie we have is Selfless, directed by Tarsem Singh, and starring Ben Kingsley, Sir Ben Kingsley, excuse me.
Don't forget that.
And Ryan Reynolds. These are our main guys, and it is about a billionaire real estate mogul who is dying. He has cancer. He is dying.
Yeah.
And he is offered a chance to keep his mind alive, to give himself an extended life in a different body, in a new, fresh body created in a lab to his specifications. You can retain your consciousness and continue doing what you're doing. It sounds like great things, right?
Yeah.
So Ben Kingsley, his mind is transferred into the body of Ryan Reynolds, and he wakes up and things are great until he realizes that a little bit of Ryan Reynolds' consciousness is leaking. And maybe
That's a problem.
Maybe this body isn't so fresh and new. Maybe it's a used body. Maybe it's not the new car he thought he got. And he's battling between his two personalities of whether he wants to retain Damien, the man he was, or the old man whose body he's encapsulating. And it's a whole bunch of action starts going on as the company who's responsible for this starts fighting back against him, keep him quiet, I guess.
Yeah, the concept is it's brilliant. A little bit Total Recall. Everybody's seen Total Recall, but this one's set in a more realistic. point of view.
Yeah.
I really loved how Ryan Reynolds portrayed his conscience of, I want to live. That's the whole reason why he spent $250 million to do this in the first place, was so that he could live. But he's in somebody else's body, and you got that moral thing of, I had to pretty much kill someone in order to extend my own life.
Right. Right. I mean, because we get his previous, Ryan Reynolds, it's so hard to say, his previous family shows up. There's this, it's a whole bunch of things. I really enjoyed Ben Kingsley in the time that he was in the film. Yeah. I really enjoyed him. He's a great actor. And I was skeptical about what I would think of Ryan Reynolds in this, and I thought he actually pulled it off fairly well.
I thought so too.
I liked that they didn't try to explain the science too much in this. Didn't bog it down with some, just, okay, I'll go with it. I'm with you on this one.
Yeah.
There were major issues in this movie.
There was.
There were massive plot holes in this movie. But you know what? I went along with it.
Yeah.
I was having fun. The movie felt a little too long to me. Like, there was a point where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it just had to go a little more. But it was enjoyable. It was fun. It was.
I would say the movie really, the concept itself, carried most of this movie.
Yes.
It was a great idea, and it kind of flowed well. Direction was not good at all.
Yeah, Tarsem Singh brought you great movies like The Cell, The Immortals. He's a rough director. Oh, Mirror, Mirror. They
had some shots of Ryan Reynolds' daughter, and it was ominous. Like, this girl is not going to survive. It's like, oh, she's a little away from the car, and oh my gosh, something's going to happen, and it was just a shot. And I found that kind of jarring that they kept on making shots that felt like it was foreshadowing something that never came to be.
Yeah, I enjoyed the underlying theme that went throughout of a man getting a second chance at life. And what would you do if you got this second chance? Not only Ben Kingsley's character, but Ryan Reynolds' character. Both converge, and each man has a second chance at life within the same body. I like that. I thought it was a cool theme. I thought it was a cool idea, and I thought it progressed really well through the story, even though all this chaos was kind of going around, and you kind of have to be like, okay, I'm just going to go with you on this one.
Yeah.
There's times. There's moments that they try and explain things in this lab, like, oh, these walls they withstand so many kilojoules of radiation, blah, blah, but you can go through it with a flamethrower, no problem.
Yeah, and
okay, I get it.
And the whole bullet scene, I'm not going to mention it, but the bullet scene was a little...
It was kind of like, really? Okay.
But it never really shot it out at you over and over again like what Terminator did, where every time it explained it, it just got worse. Yeah. This one, they explain it, and you're like, not probable, but all right, I'm cool.
I enjoyed that they didn't try to over-explain everything, because then it would have been obvious.
Yeah.
That, all right, you leave a little just out there, like, just trust us on this. It was fine, and I was very pleased with the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and his wife and his daughter in this movie. I thought it was good. I thought it was believable. You could feel the anguish in him, the torment in him, of where he was going to go.
I always really liked Ryan Reynolds. I liked his more humorous earlier career.
Well, two guys, a girl, in a pizza place?
Yeah, well, no, not that one. But I love Van Wilder, and
all right.
And I liked his character Deadpool on Wolverine, even though it seems like everybody's worst Wolverine.
It's pretty terrible.
I liked it. And I think Ryan Reynolds really made it for me. And if you guys don't know, he's doing Deadpool again.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've seen some things on the internet.
Yeah, I haven't seen a video yet, but I'm excited.
Quickly, what was your score for SelfLess?
I gave it a 3. Like I said, direction I thought was not good. I think the writing was on and off. But concept, and I was interested through the whole movie, gave it that 3. I would recommend it to someone over Gallows any day.
I agree, actually. My score was 3 stars as well. I did enjoy it. Was it good? Probably not. I mean, like, as far as if you're going to look at it as a quality directing, explaining a story, and there's issues. There's big issues when I try to explain it, but it is enjoyable. It's fun. And we say the performances were good. So I agree with you on that.
As far as concept and story goes, I think it's better than some of your major blockbusters that are currently out right now.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Next up, let's take a look back. Let me think. A movie that deals with getting into somebody else's body, right?
Yeah.
Inhabiting somebody else's body, or a piece of your body being inhabited by somebody else.
Could it also be about a bunch of jerk teenagers, too?
I hope so. Let's throw back this week to 1999, if you will. It was a whole different millennia back then.
It was.
And a little bit of a comedic horror movie called Idle Hands. Idle Hands, starring Devon Sawa, Jessica Alba, Seth Green, and Eldon Hansen, directed by Rodman Fletcher. And it is a movie about a young man played by Devon Sawa, a little stoner who wakes up and his body's not quite working the way he's used to. His hand is inhabited.
Yeah.
There's a presence within his hand that is controlling him, and we get a little bit of an Evil Dead type of play in this movie.
Oh yeah,
of a hand that just can't be stopped. It's got its own thoughts and feelings, and it's a murderous rage of a hand.
Oh yeah, that's all it wants to do is murder. Oh, there it goes, murdering.
There goes the cat. And he can't control it, and his stoner buddies, played by Eldon Hansen and Seth Green, are there, and they are dead and undead.
Yeah.
And
which you could see from the trailer or something.
Right.
But
no doubt.
You know, I totally forgot about this movie. And back when it came out, to tell you the truth, I was a little offended. It pretty much personified what the media was saying about Generation X, which I was like, well, you know, we're not like this. We're going places. We're not all going to just sit in the basement and, you know, disrespect our parents and get stoned and then eventually kill them and not care. But later on, when I got, currently when I'd watch it, it's a fun movie. It's a kind of a forgotten movie. It's a roller coaster ride. It's pretty much kind of personifies most horror movies. Teenagers are all bad, and they all have to die, and we'll throw money at it.
See, I remember really enjoying Idle Hands when it came out. It was one of those movies, I have the DVD at home, thought it was a great time. Hadn't watched it in forever.
Yeah.
Watched it last week in preparation for this show. I
Yeah.
want to rewatch this movie. And I was shocked by how little I enjoyed this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I was really shocked. I watched it, I was like, oh no, this doesn't hold up like it did in my memory. I think I might have just lost a movie that I enjoyed. Because I was like, I watched it and it reminded me how much I could not stand those late 90s horror movies. After Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and such, kind of rebooted the genre of teen horror movies. And then this almost spoofing on that kind of became a thing, and it just, I forgot how much that genre got quickly saturated.
Well, most of horror movies are teen horror movies. It's just, you did have a split.
There was a stretch there from like the late 80s through the mid 90s where it was kind of a dead period, where it was simply the 9th sequel to those 80s slasher flicks.
Yeah.
And nobody was paying attention to them. They were coming and going out of the theaters as fast as you could think about them. And then with Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, kind of relaunched a new passion in a new generation for these.
Yeah.
And kind of quickly saturated the market with movies, you know, with all these like urban legend and all these films.
Yeah, and movies like this actually kind of fell off the face of the earth. They tried recreating some more monster-like movies like Shocker and Brain Scan and stuff like that, but they fell apart.
I had a rough time with this movie.
Sorry.
It didn't hold up like I was hoping it would, but it's goofy.
I'm happy that I got the exact opposite. I didn't like it in the 90s. I liked it now.
It's perfect. It feels very much like the 90s. Even though it was at the end of the decade, man, this thing screams 90s.
And like I said, I didn't like it in the 90s because this is what the media was saying about my generation over and over and over again. They stereotyped everyone.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I didn't
I'm
like
stereotyping it. Not good.
Yeah, well,
We're split, right? On some shows, it would look like this. I don't know what those shows are. Let's take a look ahead, though, at the...
Copyright infringement? We didn't do that.
Nobody's alive from that show. I'm just saying. I'm not making things up. Let's take a look ahead real quick before we leave with the weekend of July 24th for what's coming soon. We have 4 movies, sir, that will be coming out that weekend. It is a full house. The first one we have is Paper Towns. Paper Towns movie about a young man and his crush who lives across the street who has never paid attention to him until one night she comes and says, I need your help. We're going to tear this town up. And then she disappears.
Based on a teen novel that I'll never read.
Yes. Is it the John Green novels or whatever? Paper Towns looks kind of interesting, though.
Fault in Our Stars guy, yeah.
Very much, very much.
Big one last year.
Yeah. And the next movie we have that weekend is the newest Adam Sandler, Kevin James spectacular.
Yes.
Josh Gad. We've got all kinds of folks in it. And that is Pixels.
That's another one of these previews that
the Atari games come down to attack us.
Yeah.
We need gamers to take them down.
I'm not going to talk about the previews, but if you watch a preview of it, you will get the beginning, end, and middle.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it really
I know how it ends already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful it's good.
I'm hopeful
I'm
too.
not a big Sandler guy at all. So
Not recently, no.
I'm hopeful for this one. I don't know. It seems like he and Kevin James, when they pair up, they're at least better than when they're on their own, when they're left to their own devices.
I know this sounds like stacking my own deck, but I would like to put bets on what we are going to review.
Oh, yeah? We'll have to talk about that. All right. Put the odds out there. The next movie we have that week is The Vatican Tapes, starring Michael Pena and such.
Another found footage horror film.
Is it found footage?
I
had a hard time telling. I've only seen the trailer a couple times.
I believe they videotape it.
I dig Michael Pena, though, and he plays the priest in this one. I'm hopeful.
Yep.
As much as I am not a fan of such genre. And last but not least, that weekend is actually the movie that I have been looking forward to all year.
Yes.
All year. This is in my top 5 most anticipated movies of 2015.
I remember you talking about this earlier.
And it is in limited release this weekend. It will be rolling out more after the 24th. Yeah, it's limited on the 24th, so you may or may not get this where you are. I'm hopeful we get it here at the beautiful Palace. That is Southpaw, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, written by Kurt Sutter, who you may know from Sons of Anarchy, wrote and directed a lot of Sons of Anarchy, and directed by, oh boy, I just blanked a name. The guy who did Training Day, you idiot. But Antoine Fuqua, and it looks so good. Rachel McAdams also in it, and this I cannot wait for. This should be a good time. So
hopefully it makes up for what I'm predicting the other movies.
Oh no, Mike! Predictions. Yes, but before we do anything else, we would like to thank our sponsor, of course. Thank you to Marcus Cinemas. Thank you to the Palace here in beautiful Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. Thank you for sponsoring the show and showing us all your films. Hopefully, Southpaw. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But before we go, also, we want to urge you to go and check out everything else that we have. You can find us on Facebook. Search Real Reviews TV. You can follow us on Twitter. We've been having a lot of fun interaction with people during Comic-Con this past weekend at Real Reviews TV. Going back and forth with a lot of people on Twitter was a lot of fun.
And don't forget, we are also on YouTube. If you want to go to our past episodes, you could see our little review of the Madison Comic-Con. It's still there, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff. If you're on our Facebook page, you can click on that little like section in the corner. You can see anything else that we've worked on. I've got a bunch of podcasts. If you're interested in documentaries or anything like that, you can check those out. And also anything that is involved with K-Sun, our mothership. You can find all that on our Facebook page and such. So next week we will be talking about Ant-Man and Trainwreck. But until then, I'm Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.